So yeah, we'll work through August Solicits. This has been a while because we've not had Solicits because we've had no books for some time.
And this is interesting because like half of the books in this are like resolicits from previous months with the rejigger in the schedule, which shows you that even after June and July seeming kind of normal, we're not back to normal yet.
Now August actually feels a lot more normal because before we even get work through it, I'll say that a lot of the books, because DC have a very strict schedule, unlike Marvel, like I expect Batman on the same 2 weeks every month. I expect Justice League on these 2 months every week. I expect this book on this week, or this week every month. Blah blah. And obviously things are all a bit weird right now because some books came back early, some didn't, and I was like, oh, is this just going to change when Batman's out from now on, or when whatever book's out? In August, it seems to be back to normal. They've actually jiggered it back in, so they want Batman out in that week 1 and week 3 every month. They want,
It's going to be weird because when we talk about the issues of Batman that are solicited in this month of August, they're the ones that were solicited for July, I believe, both issues.
That makes sense. Well, that's coming back later. That's not coming back till June versus a lot of other books which are back earlier. So it makes sense that Batman at least sticks out as being, oh, that's actually just the July books again. But we'll work through this and see how it is. Obviously, the first big thing that made a big announcement of this week before the solicits even came out was Batman 3 Jokers finally back on the schedule for the last week in August. So, yeah. Not much to say because we knew about this. We've had it solicited before.
Yeah, so I think it was supposed to be June, and now it's August, so it's a few months delay, but understandable.
Which means the last issue should come because it's every other month. So August.
No, this is monthly. I think.
Is it monthly?
Yeah, it doesn't say bi-monthly on it.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I mean, it's already ready, so I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it was all ready before they solicited anyway. I think that was what they always wanted to do, and Favok's been working on it for kind of years at this point, right?
Yeah.
Ember, yeah. So when you think that they teased 3 Jokers at the end of New 52, and now we've been in Rebirth for 4 years now. So
this is literally coming out as we end the era. Because I mean, okay, admittedly, Generations isn't anywhere to be found. We'll talk about that a bit more, at the end of Solicits, but. It's interesting that we're essentially getting to the end, or at least maybe things have delayed a little bit now, so we're just close to the end right now. But it's just kind of funny that 3 Jokers took the entire era.
It's bookended the entire era
to get to. All right.
Yeah, but being a Johns fan, this whole quarantine thing has really prepped me for just waiting for books.
Yeah.
I was like, could you imagine Doomsday Clock during all this?
We wouldn't have noticed any difference.
Exactly.
So we got Deceased Dead Planet issue 2, which is notable because I'll mention the July schedule because obviously they had to kind of reschedule what July is, even though it's not new solicits. But Deceased was kind of missing, but it actually kind of worked out because I noticed that in June we're getting 2 Deceased issues in the sense that we're getting the final issue of the current mini at the start of the month, and at the end of the month we're getting the first issue of Dead Planet. So the issue 2 of Dead Planet's at the first week of August, so it's technically skipping a month, but it's not really a full month it's skipping. It's like 5 weeks between issues, so it's...
Yeah, it just feels like a long time, going from June all the way till August, right?
But it's not really, because it's the very end of June and the very start of August, so...
Yeah.
Not a big deal. I guess they just wanted to, again, rejigger it because they wanted it on that week every month, because DC seem to care about that side of the schedule, whereas Marvel seem to be quite happy to just have things land wherever they...
You know what, you say that, but if they really wanted to do that, just push... The one that's in the end of June, just push forward a week to the first week of July, and it would be on week 1 every month.
Maybe there's a reason why they wanted that. Is there a 5th week in June?
There might be.
I don't know.
Well, this is where it gets interesting. There's a 5th Tuesday.
So technically there is...
There's not a 5th Wednesday.
Which actually technically makes that the first week of July, if you think about it.
Well, I don't know, because their on sale date is the 30th of June.
Yeah, no, but if you think about it as the as the Wednesday schedule, that's the first week of July.
Oh, this is getting murky already, isn't it?
All right, so this is Dead Planet issue 2. In fact, what's the homage cover? I'm not noticing. I'm assuming it's the Cyborg one.
It is the Cyborg one. It
looks like Rosemary's Baby.
It's a Book of Eli, I think.
Oh, Book of Eli. There you go.
Oh yeah, I can see it now. You've said that. Yeah, I can see see the Book of Eli. That's stretching it for horror, but I mean, all right.
I think they no, but you say that the last one was Blade Runner. They've given up on horror.
That's
remember?
true. That's true. They went sci-fi with this one because they've run out of horror movies. All right. Then we got Dark Knight's Death Metal issue 3. So that's coming. I'll mention here as well, it's been extended to 7 issues instead of 6, and it's taking a month off in September, which is a lot disappointing.
I'm sure we'll get something else in September, like
Probably.
what we did in the original Metal. We had something in a skip month, didn't we?
I will say this though, I am a little disappointed. Not so much that it's got an extra issue in the main book. Okay, it's went to 7, whatever. I'm not really fussed about that. But Snyder this week was talking in interviews about how, because Generations isn't happening right now, it lets Death Metal be the flagship thing for the next little while. So it's getting to expand and be bigger. And the last thing I want to hear about any Snyder story is that it's expanding and getting bigger.
Honestly, I suspect this is in a way that would please you, because I think what he means by that is some of the rebooty shenanigans that would have happened in Generation
are going to happen here
to do in Metal instead. So he's kind of having to, I need an extra issue to work this stuff in.
And with what Rucka worked into Lois Lane this time, when we get there's some multiversey shenanigans going on there. Yeah, and also Pete, you say that, but then I hear Warren Ellis T-Rex Batman, and okay, we're good.
Well, I'll get into the first of the tie-ins is coming, and we're getting 2 one-shots. I mean, I think I kind of like that they're doing one-shots instead of 3 and 4 issue minis to go along with the main book. Yep. I mean, they may still do that, but at least so far, that's not the case.
They'll be pushing it late, because, I mean, minis won't be starting until September if they do then, so that'll be... I mean, they could still run concurrently and finish alongside the main book with the 4-issue minis, but... It's quite late into the event to be starting minis at that point.
But with the main book taking that month off, I mean, it is possible to do a little. But anyway, I appreciate that it's just one-shots, bigger one-shots, of course, the $6 48-page books. But the first one is Dark Knight's Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights, issue 1. That is a mouthful of a title. A lot of writers on this, a lot of creative teams. We've got Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, Peter J. Tomasi, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, Daniel Warren Johnson, and Frank Thierry. So I'll read the description here. A DC universe has been engulfed by the dark multiverse, where demons dwell and reality is overrun by monstrous versions of the Dark Knight. We're doing all the Dark Batman again, really?
Yeah, but just for a one-shot, right?
I know, but that's the entire last one was that.
I'm pretty sure they're showing up in Death Metal. So this is instead of doing all of those 7,
Sure, no,
we're gonna get them here.
I get that, but the entire last Metal was all about. I thought we were gonna get all the dark other characters.
Right, Batman Who Laughs has one trick, and that's it.
Anyway, in this collection of short tales, which makes sense given all the creative teams that are listed up there, with the terrifying secrets of these new bats out of hell. They wanted to use that sentence, didn't they? They really wanted to. And other creatures of the night, like Robin King, whose origin is just the worst. Plus, read about the secret buried beneath Castle Bat, the sentient Batmobile, and how did Batman turn into a dinosaur? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
that's Warren Ellis one is robot Batman T-Rex.
Yeah. On a similar vein, the other one shot, again, has got a lot of creative teams and seems to be a collection of short stories. Dark Knight's Death Metal Guidebook issue 1. Scott Steyer, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, Becky Cloonan, Vita Lea, Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky on DC, that's new.
It is going to be the most irreverent thing possible, I guarantee you.
And the fact that he goes, oh yeah, I was being a little sneaky, that he did the story. So people still don't believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digging his Daredevil, so if he wants to read a Batman story, go for it, I guess. No complaints.
I am digging his newsletter more than anything else, which is to say his Daredevil's still great, but his newsletter is top quality comedy.
Do you think this has to do with Fraction coming? Like that, like when Bendis came through, he held the door open and it had Rucka and Fraction and all these people that hadn't worked at DC in a while, or if at all. And you just think they're more open to coming over and working for...
It could be. Zdarsky and Fraction, of course, have worked together a lot. They have a great relationship, so it would make sense.
Oh, and the same with Bendis and Fraction, right?
Yeah.
So there's...
Well, let me read the description, because this one sounds a bit more specific to what's going on in the main book. Earth is turned upside down, shrouded in a realm of darkness after Justice League's defeat by the cosmic goddess Perpetua. Ugh. And the Batman who laughs and his army of Dark Knights rule the planet, wreaking havoc on humanity and raining destruction on the world. As Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, and the other heroes fight to survive in this strange new landscape, one cloaked figure has been, Mr. Oz, has been observing from the sidelines, creating a guidebook to this new world and its evil leaders in the hope of forming a plan of justice and penance.
I think that tells you who the cloaked figure is pretty nicely.
Almost
let me finish.
A monitor.
There's another paragraph here. The issue showcases the new factions of Earth and explores the mystery of what happened to our heroes after the battle with Perpetua. How does Wonder Woman, the new Queen of Hell, reign over her prisoners? What is Batman doing with the Black Lantern ring? And what happens when Harley Quinn takes charge of the Wasteland and finds love in the process? I'll listen more in the jam-packed issue exploring the New World Order. So it sounds like it's exploring a lot of the new status quo that the main book is probably going to just sort of throw out there as like taken for granted.
Yeah, this is just, here's some other stuff that's going on in the world while the main book happens.
Kind of, yeah, but I feel like we're going to see like glimpses of a lot of this stuff in the main book, and this is here to flesh it out because we're going to see, it's kind of like how in Flashpoint, there's this war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman going on in the background. Oh, good, a couple of minis in the background to tell us.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that this is a single 50-ish page one-shot covering all of that, as opposed to the 5 minis that could easily be.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And I have all the Flashpoint minis, so yes, let's just stick to this.
Yeah,
please.
Well, that had a lot of minis. Like that was
an
obscene amount. And some of them were good, but there was still an obscene amount of them. But I think it's interesting that this again is going for the anthology route, where we're going to have a different writer and artist on exploring each of these new little windows of the. So even though this is like a 50-page book, like we're going to be having like a lot of like 5 to 8 page stories here, doing little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 8 writers on there, so let's assume 8 stories, because it doesn't say and more. True. Like they sometimes do. Yeah.
So yes, forgive me for not reading all the artists for those 2 books as well, but obviously a lot of them there too. So we got 2 one-shots tying into Death Metal. So Death Metal is going to be almost a weekly thing starting in August, in the sense that we're going to have 3 weeks out of the month we'll have a Death Metal book to headline the books. So there you go. So we got a couple of trade paperbacks, the young adult stuff. Teen Titans Beast Boy by Cami Garcia, and then Swamp Thing Twin Branches by Maggie. This is a great name, Steve Vatter.
Sure.
I really need to read the Raven one by Cami Garcia soon. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that this week because it just looks great, and I'm interested in this for sure.
Yeah, and then also adding on to this, we have a new graphic novel, Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 2. And I enjoyed that Volume 1, so...
Volume 1 was solid. It was in the upper tier of the Earth 1 books, for sure.
It was for sure. The art especially really was phenomenal, and the same artist... although he's got a co-writer this time. I don't know if he had a co-writer of the first issue.
I don't recall that name.
No.
On the first issue.
But maybe that'll tighten up the story a little bit, but it's still the same art. It's still Gabriel Hardman doing all the art, so that pleases me greatly. It looks like from the cover there's more of a core this time, which makes sense, given that...
Yeah, where we ended the last one.
Yeah. So with that, we're at the single issues. So, Batman 96, 97, we knew these were coming from the previous month. Worth mentioning, October will have issue 100, so I don't know if they're going to do some sort of Halloween theme for it, or... I
doubt it'll be Halloween themed, because they did also confirm that double shipping will be continuing. Mm-hmm. So October will have 100 and 101. So if they're going to do a Halloween theme, it'll be 101. They're not going to waste issue 100 on it.
Plus, must be keeping in mind that it was originally going to be coming out in July before everything get pushed. So
yeah.
So it makes sense that it wouldn't have even planned for that anyway. If anything, Tiny's probably sitting there with a Halloween issue that now won't come out until January, livid.
Well, that's the thing. They might have been able to just go, well, we've got a guest writer, just slip in an issue 101 just in between, and we'll just push everything else back by an issue, and it's no big deal.
No, they have to do a Halloween thing. I was just...
No, but if they wanted to.
Yeah. So we got Batgirl 48, a book that we unfortunately all decided to drop just before all this delay started to happen. Although I do really like that variant cover, just want to point that out.
Yeah, it's nice.
Very nice variant cover. And we'll see things, because we're kind of expecting still some sort of line-wide relaunch or refresh, even without Generations. And I feel like Batgirl's one of those books that's probably going to just start fresh.
It's interesting that I'm not sure it'll be as clean sweeping as we thought. We were thinking, okay, it'll be kind of one point and it'll be this over the course of a month or so. Most things will happen. Given one of the other news articles that we've got to talk about, maybe it won't be as neat as that this time.
Yeah, but I do think there's a bunch of books. There's a lot of signs in here. We're not gotten to it yet, but Harley Quinn ending with 75. I'm like, they're not going to go that long without a Harley Quinn book. So that's
they've already confirmed that they've got, that Harley's not going anywhere. The books, that there's going to be, it'll probably launch in September. To be honest with you.
Yeah, we might even get a few launches in September, but there's a couple other books ending soon. So I feel
there
like
is. And on Harley Quinn, I know Sam Humphries, who I think was writing Harley, has said that he's already working on his next project at DC, and Harley ended on his terms. He was ready to be done. It wasn't like it was cancelled.
That's always good. Detective Comics 1025 and 1026. Notably, this was not double shipping before the break, so I'm wondering if this has moved to double shipping or if it's just because there's some catch up because they took obviously some time off.
Yeah, it's probably related to Joker War stuff, right?
Yeah, I think it's Joker War stuff because neither of these are re-solicits, so these are new issues for this month anyway. So it's not fallen behind schedule, so to speak. So I think it's more just Joker War.
I mean, if DC want to have kind of, because this is kind of what Marvel do with a lot of their books, where it kind of seamlessly slips between single and double depending on what they want to do. I feel like if they want to keep doing that with some of these books, like Detective, then fine.
Yeah, Marvel have like an 18 issues a year thing for a lot of books, and that works quite nicely.
Yeah, it works all right. I wish they actually spaced them out that way, though, because they don't space it out like we get one every 3 weeks, which is what they probably should do with that. It's like, they have like two, like, so for example, Immortal Hulk, they'll have one early month, then 1 week 3, say, and then the following month you'll have 1 week 1 again, but then there'll just not be a week 3 one. So there's a big gap between, every 3 issues there's a big gap before the next one, comparatively to what it has been. So I wish they were more consistent with that, but whatever. So yeah, then Harley Quinn 75, final issue of the current run, meaning they're probably doing an issue 1, or maybe it'll be retitled. It may be Harley Quinn and something, or some, the fantabulous Harley Quinn.
They've been teasing a romance with Booster Gold, that's going to be happening in these last few issues. So maybe you get a Harley and Booster book.
Oh, Matt's going to have to read that.
I know, so I don't like that. I'm trying to cut back.
The blue, the gold, the black, and the red.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, think of all the jokes that Harley would make at the wedding about something borrowed, something blue.
Yeah. Well, and just, there's no way Skeets approves of her. There's no way.
Does Skeets approve of anyone?
No, but especially him getting involved with someone in the past. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, what if Harley is Rip Hunter's mom? This would explain so much.
All right, Nightwing.
Back in. I'm going to read this book.
Yeah. Nightwing issue 73. Joker War stuff. That's what it is. Red Hood Outlaw 48.
Which I noticed includes Rick Grayson and Punchline.
Nope.
Why?
So, at the risk of sounding like a soft parody or a hipster or whatever, the more I hear about Joker War, the less inclined I am on it. It just seems like now it's outgrown. Like, I know it's supposed to be a big bat story, right? And I trust Tynion enough, but the fact that it's bleeding into every other... Like, if Batman showed up once in these books, like, it's getting a little zero-year-y.
Did Zero Year have tie-ins to...
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
It had that 1 month where everything tied into it, I suppose. You're right.
Yeah.
This is weird, where it's more focused in that it is just Bat Family books, but they're going to up to 6 issues on it rather than just 1 issue like 0 Year was.
The amusing thing is here, though, is that we all just happen to not read any of these books that it's tying into, so we're all going to just read the main story anyway.
Yeah, I think if we were reading these books, we probably wouldn't be that annoyed because we're reading Joker.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways that makes it more excusable in that it's coming from the main Batman book, and most people who are reading any other Bat Family book tend to be reading the main Batman book.
Yeah, but it just feels like I thought we were past this now, of this big overarching story in this way. I almost, as much as Connor doesn't like Bendis, the way that he handled the whole checkmate in Leviathan, it seemed pretty self-contained. But then again, he's writing all of those himself, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I saw all of these tie-ins and the length of them. I'm just like, this just seems like too much.
I mean, it's funny. Like, I'm actually, I feel like if I was reading these books, I'd be more annoyed because it was interfering with the book. Because I'm not reading these books that it happens to be tying in one, just because we just dropped Batgirl. Nightwing obviously has been, Nightwing since.
You don't read tech.
Well, no, that's the problem. It hasn't been Nightwing.
You know what I mean? But the Nightwing book has been the Nightwing book.
Yeah.
And it's because I think he's technically not Rick anymore, or he is.
It is. Well, I mean, Red Hood says he's getting a visit from Rick Grayson. So
okay, he's still Rick then. Okay, moving on. We have Wonder Woman 716 761, which of course we will be doing because this is post Tamaki. Tamaki starts at 759, so it's actually the 2nd July issue that we'll be jumping on.
And now I've read most things. I gotta track down her She-Hulk because I really enjoyed her X-23. Like, she nailed that relationship with Gabby and Laura.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah, so now I want to see what she does with Diana. Like, Wonder Woman's one of these characters I'm always interested in, but the creative team never seems to be there long term.
Yeah.
So I get really into it for a hot second.
Oh yeah, I mean, I pray to the comic gods. Please let Tamaki have a long and fruitful run, please.
Yeah. Just two things to point out on this though, and the big one is. We've got our second artist team on 761, so the second issue of this month. Obviously, we have Janin for the first 3 issues.
2.
And then is it just 2? Okay.
Well, I think 759. I mean, unless I'm remembering wrong, it's 758.
I mean, you might be right. I don't know anymore. Honestly, they were solicited so long ago that I don't remember because it just feels like it's a blur. But then we've got Carlo Barberi and Matt Santorelli on the second issue of this month, which is a little frustrating to see. Okay, well, we've presumably had some lead time going over this situation. These have been delayed for sure, and we've still got 2 artists on the book.
Well, because I don't think the quarantine or anything's affected it. I think they just kept working as is. So I like. If there's an effect of them having more time, it would have came after this because these issues were already being worked on.
Possibly, yeah. I say that though because 761 wasn't actually solicited before, so this is a new solicited issue, so should have been in the August solicits anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of pushing that boundary of how much they would have been working on it, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. They just kept working, so I don't think anyone got lead time on things really to the extent where they had more time on any books. Like, I don't think they got extra time on a set number of books because they had this extra month off. I feel like they just kept working ahead and moved on to the next issue as quickly as they normally do. That's the impression I'm getting from everything. At least at DC and Marvel. I don't know, smaller publishers and whatnot. But no, so because I liked a lot of Wilson's run. I really wanted that to be longer and to go on. So I am really excited about Tamaki, and we should already be reading it by now, I think, or we'll be starting it this month.
Was it this month or was it June? I don't know.
It was, for some reason, I thought it was June when I said that. No, yeah, June next month.
Time has no meaning anymore.
Time does not have any meaning anymore. Speaking of Wilson, though, the Dreaming Waking Hours issue 1. Obviously, we don't really cover the Sandman universe books, but her Sandman universe book is coming out.
It's finally coming out.
Yeah, so that's coming out in August. And Harley Quinn, The Birds of Prey issue 3. This is the Palmiotti and Amanda Connor Black Label book. So that's there. We got Strange Adventures number 4 coming in August, as we expect. We have Super Sons Book 3 Escape to Landis trade paperback. This is why I don't know why this wasn't with the other trades up further up, but yeah, another one of those.
This is one of the ones for kids, not for young adults.
Yeah.
It still feels like a weird place to put this after.
It does.
A bunch of singles.
I don't know quite why.
We got some more books. We got Action Comics 1024. Unfortunately, Matt, we still have John Romita Jr. on art. So that's upsetting. Amethyst issue 5. We got Aquaman 62. Notably, we have a fill-in here on Aquaman.
Yeah, two issue fill-in story.
Who's worked with Kelly Sue before, apparently, because They wrote Bitch Planet triple feature, which that's Kelly Sue's creator owned. So
Okay.
Yeah. And
yeah,
what a variant.
let's see.
I got a shark with the armor on. Yes, I see.
It's so this is
Dibs.
becoming a bit of a house style on the variants, because we had the Middleton one earlier. That was the Wonder Woman one. There was the Batgirl one, and they kind of fit the same sort of style, right, as the variant.
Yeah, well, that's Tyler Kirkham. Tyler Kirkham's been around for a minute.
Oh yeah, but I feel like they're like a go-to
Yeah.
DC house style for variants right now. And
Yeah,
I'm okay
it's
with
very
that.
digitally sheen, to it. But
Yeah.
I just want to say I have dibs on the Hammerhead. That guy looks dope.
Yeah, it does.
Sure. Got Batman Outsiders issue 15 coming out. We got Batman Beyond 46. Still not final issue. That's going. Dan Jurgens, his run on Batman Beyond is going forever.
We know he's got dirt. He's been in DC for so long. He's got dirt on everyone. So he's like, just let me keep telling Terry's story, guys, and no one has to know.
That was the trade-off he had to do. It's like, look, we'll let you keep doing this if you come in and handle this Rick Grayson mess.
Yeah.
What a thankless task.
Yeah, that was it. They're like, no one wants it, so you're gonna have to.
Batman: The Adventure Continues, issue 3 of 7. We got Batman's Grave issue 9, so that's sort of getting towards the end of that run. Batman Superman number 11 is coming out. I like that dark cover, I think. Yeah, I mostly like that.
Is that
Jay Lee one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Yeah.
Although there's a version 1984 cover that's not coming up, and it makes me very mad.
Yeah,
I'd love to see what that looks like.
Yeah. Got Catwoman 24 coming out. We got the Flash 759 and 760. I suppose this is a good time to bring in the Flash news, which is pretty big deal. And it's funny, every time I said we must be getting close to this run, Connor had to fearmonger because, oh, you don't know, you could be on there for much longer. No, he's ending with his 101st issue, to say that properly. I feel like
and by the time he adds annuals and other stuff in there, it'll be like over 106 issues.
It's not what would have been the standard issue 100 or 101 in this case. It's counting those, so it'll be somewhere in the 90s if it's still in the original numbering.
Yeah. Right. So issue. So it's coming in September. It's not in the August books. It's in September. His final issue of the book. So he stuck to what he said about 100 issues, and it's called Finish Line. His final story, which is perfect as a title goes for your last Flash story.
And he said that when he had started writing Flash, like he'd always wanted to write Flash. So even if he had only been able to do an issue, he would have been fine. But he got to have these long runs. And I've been real up and down with him, but as a person, I can tell that Williamson appreciates Flash, and so I've talked a lot of mess. But I think I have to go back now.
Wait, Pete, what was the pool? How many issues did we have on it?
Because he said he was quitting, and then he came crawling back very quickly, and he said he was quitting again because of the quarantine.
I remember I said I gave it. Was it 2 or 3 issues I gave him?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Damn it.
To be fair, if he wasn't leaving, I would be sticking to my guns. But I do think that I owe it that not that I owe it to Williamson, because I have a lot of his Flash issues, but I think I owe it to myself just to see,
you know what? Mr. Williamson, over the last year or so, I've been very critical of the book, but I want it to be known that I never wavered, I never quit, never said I was quitting. I said I was sticking it out to the end, and I'm on that path.
Just for the record, I'm not doing what Mad's doing.
Well, that's fine. No, you're the rebel.
So now I have to go back and hunt. Now that here's the thing: do I go back and get the physicals, or do I just go digital? It's probably easier to go digital, but
easier. Yep.
Depends. Does your shop have the other issues in stock still?
Maybe. If not, I'm sure they can order them. It's not like I'm still waiting on Hell Arisen 3. It's become a joke. So I'm sure once it gets sorted, they'll have stuff. But yeah, no, I got to know how this ends now.
But yeah, this is one of those books where I say it feels like it won't be a clean sweep of things just ending, starting and ending at the same time, like we thought it might be with Generations, which probably was the plan at the time.
I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay with this. If there's going to be a lot of refreshes, I'm okay with it taking place over a few months as books kind of naturally find their end points.
I think, honestly, I say that the more likely situation is they stick a fill-in on for 6 issues.
Yeah, that's very possible. We're probably going to get like an arc.
That's what they did before they did Flash Rebirth. I remember Wally in that whole storyline, right as he ended, and then it was just a whole thing. So
yeah, I could see them having a fill-in or whatever, and I mean
it's happened right now in Justice League in terms of solicit wise.
Yeah. We've seen it done before. We've seen it done where it's like, okay, so we have this new writer on this book. Is this the new writer permanently? No, it's just they're here for 12 issues until they actually have the proper writer ready.
I also want to say in that Twitter thread that Williamson put up, he did say that this is where he had always imagined the story going. So he's been writing towards this, which puts me not at, I would say, at ease, because the longer this goes, the more it's gotten sideways for me. I mean, the whole year one story that tops, I think, the Shade stuff and things I didn't enjoy. So this, I could be a fool for doing this, but you know what? I gotta know.
What's that many issues now? You know where the end site is.
Yeah,
so
and I mean, come on, it's called the Legion of Zoom. Like, how do I not like that?
So we got the Green Lantern season 2, issue 6, coming.
Connor still won't be caught up though.
No, you won't be. We got Hawkman issue 26 coming out. We got Justice League Dark 25. We have Justice League 50 and 51, which are written by, actually 2 different writers. We got Simon Spurrier on the first issue, which is a supersized. So it's actually really weird that the issue 50 that's going to be supersized, because the anniversary issue, is essentially a fill-in. Simon Spurrier did a story there,
and then it's the final chapter of the Rule of War. So like they really,
that's his 6-issue arc. Essentially, is 7 issues in length. Also, that has a great variant. I really like that.
Sure. No, but I mean, I know he's doing like a whole arc, but I mean, it's like a fill-in arc. Like he's just there for one arc, and then he gets the big 50th issue. It's weird. It's also weird because Justice League actually renumbered when Snyder took it over. So if they'd kept the numbering, this would actually be up in like the 90s, I think. By the time it got to maybe by the 80s, by the time I got to issue 50 here. So that's kind of weird. 51 though is written by Jeff Loveness, who's here for. Is there any indication of this being a first part of something, or is it just
a 2-part mini? Two-part film.
A 2-part story about Black Mercy. So I'm probably gonna get to the end of Vendittas and then drop Justice League until this, just to.
I'm really interested in Simon Spurrier. I've really liked everything I've read from Spurrier in the past. Done some really great stuff, so I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, I have no problem reading Spurrier's arc. I mean, if I don't like it, I'll just stop.
You guys have fun after we had Flash, so something else has to drop. So,
but Loveness, it says here he's a Rick and Morty writer, which makes me significantly less interested in reading that.
Yeah, but Black Mercy. So we'll see. Also, I don't want to blame the writers for the fans here.
Yeah.
No, I don't like
Rick and Morty
in general.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of my friends who I trust really love the show. However, I've run into a lot more fans that like it for other reasons, and it's put me off. It's a lot of my problem with Doctor Who. I mean, early on, a lot of the fans put me off. So
I like the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty. The fan base can be rather obnoxious, but. But when you get to like episode like 3 or 4 of that first season, whatever one it is, and you realize they're doing Inception, but when they get to one of the layers of the dream worlds, Freddy Krueger's there. You're like, okay, this is made for me. That
was one of the episodes I saw at my comic shop, and it had me dying. Just the stuff that was going on.
So
I watched the first full season and like a little bit of season 2, and it was okay every so often. I was like, oh, I like this episode, but by the time I was into season 2, I was like, I'm not feeling. I'm just wasting my time by sitting through this now. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I watched the first episode and it was fine, but no, that Freddy Krueger one did crack me up when I was sitting at the comic store. So this was just a long way around to go. I don't want to throw this out just because the guy worked.
Also, I mean, do you really think he's going to be having like Batman say "rub-a-dub-dub" at some point? Like,
no, obviously I'm not saying that. I just meant the fact that I didn't enjoy that. So as far as I know, that's my only.
That's it. I'll tell you right
my
now.
only interaction with his work, and I enjoy it. It inherently makes me less interested.
I'll tell you right now. If he can naturally get Batman to say "wubba dub dub" at some point, I'll give it a 10.
Well, I mean, the cover does show Batman covered in Black Mercy, so anything's possible.
Yeah, I'll say this though about Black Mercy is that even though this was right at the start of Rebirth, like I still remember that first Trinity. Remember the Trinity book? Like that first arc was about Black Mercy. And
Yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course I do.
And I'm like, oh, we're doing Black Mercy again? Okay.
Again, like it hasn't been 4 years.
I don't know. I don't do that often.
I think it's a good story device as long as they don't overdo it. And I think here two issues to do something like that, I think it
Let's
works
be honest.
out.
Everyone gets a Black Mercy story at some point, and this is Batman's turn.
And I mean, my favorite Superman story is a Black Mercy story. So.
Yeah, so Justice League Odyssey 23 is coming out. Still not the final issue. I'm shocked. We got Legion of Superheroes issue 8. That's still trucking along. Metal Men issue 9. We have the final issue of The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage, issue 4 of that.
I just actually want to go back and mention what's going on in Legion of Superheroes issue 8. That's pretty unique sounding in what it's doing. Pete obviously looked over the entire huge list of artists and just went, I don't care about that.
Yeah, so it says Legion of Superheroes number 8, written by Bendis, and then art by a list of who's who. Like you have Shaner, Lemire.
There's going to be 44 artists
Jones
over 2 issues.
Yeah. That's a lot of artists. I will grant you.
Beginning a special 2-part comic storytelling event over the course of 2 spectacular issues. I'll be there for that. 44 artists will dive into the 31st century, with each page starring a different Legionnaire. It starts when the team is arrested by a galactic authority that does not approve of the Legion, and it leads to an intergalactic showdown that will affect every member of the team. I'm here for this.
Yeah, it sounds very gimmicky. Yeah, I mean, if it works.
I'm curious because it could end up just feeling like a series of pin-ups with not a little story to kind of connect it together.
It depends how much their actual sequential art pages versus just here's each person doing a splash, right?
But at the same time, there's so many Legion characters that giving them each a page to like shine and like get like let readers who don't know a lot of them get to know them might actually also be a really smart idea. Although that said, 40 plus in 2 issues might be too many at once. So we'll see. So yeah, Question, Deaths of Vic Sage, got to that. What's interesting actually is that I was really feeling, looking at the schedule, because I put all these into our schedule in Google Docs, and is that with the Hill House books ending and a lot of the Black Label stuff kind of coming to an end, and they've not really announced the next wave of Black Label stuff, is that the schedule's actually looking pretty light for me, at least, compared to what it was before the quarantine. So we'll see how things shape back up again, but which is partially why I'm okay reading Spurrier's Justice League arc, because, well, I mean, there's not much else going on. Suicide Squad issue 8, obviously Tom Taylor books always an event, and we've got
it's a must read.
So we got Suicide Squad, and basically Deceased is an ongoing at this point. I mean, obviously it keeps changing its title, but
yeah, but I mean, it's going to have 18 issues worth of content by the end of this third one. I'm counting the middle one as 6 issues in terms of page count.
Yeah, kind of. It's because I know a lot of comic shops like count Hellboy as an ongoing series, even though technically it's all a bunch of minis. But they just assume that anyone who got the last mini is going to want the next mini because it's just the way it works.
I mean, that's the Dark Horse model, right? That they do with all their books, or a lot of them. Like Black Hammer is the one going on right now that I can think of that does that still. I know it goes
you could argue
my
that
shop as well with Deceased. They just add on the next Deceased book for me.
Yeah. Oh, so when you brought up Black Hammer, though, you could argue that Lemire wanted to copy Mignola's for that type of story that he's telling. So I don't know if that's
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Horse.
Dark Horse did it with they did it with a lot of their Star Wars books as well. They split them into mini, like 5 or 6 issue minis. Some as little as 2 issue minis, actually.
I did not realize that. So then I will take what I say back, and maybe that is Dark Horse's thing.
Yeah.
Wait, what did they do with Buffy though?
Buffy was different. Buffy was more of a wrong
seasons, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like the first one was like 40 issues, so it was basically just ongoings that were retitled every once in a while.
It's not every book they do, but like they have done it with more than just Hellboy, and I know Hammer is emulating that feel. But
to be fair, the Buffy stuff is actually quite old at this point, because I mean Buffy's been at Boom now for over a year, and like.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Oh damn! Yeah. I don't pay attention.
Yeah, the whole relaunch, because now they're not doing a continuation of the show. Now we have Jordi Belair doing like a
Retelling.
reboot for it's set in present day, which has kind of been interesting and
So
fun.
they're in the way that it's like Riverdale, where it's an update of a thing, not that it's going for that,
Oh sure, yeah.
trashy
But
soap opera-y.
I will say this, it is kind of weird reading a Buffy comic and having her pull out a smartphone. It's like, whoa, what?
Yeah, and they've taken some liberties with characters and plot choices early on that have been interesting to make it feel fresh and new. And
yeah, because Angel, they introduced that quite early on as a separate series, and like she hadn't even met Buffy yet, and we had so basically every time, like at least early on so far, they had this big crossover event called Hellmouth, and that was when Buffy and Angel first met, and it actually felt like a big deal in the story because we'd sort of been introduced to both of them separately first. But it's very different from how the show did it, and it feels.
Oh yeah,
but it felt momentous. It felt like this feels important.
And no spoilers, but they're taking Xander in a wildly different direction.
Oh yeah, he's in a weird direction. So I recommend the Buffy books. I'm a couple issues behind. Not much, but because obviously they paused like everything else did.
I know what Matt's smiling at.
Yeah, I just checked Twitter.
I'm waiting. I saw it a while ago. I've been waiting for it.
Well, what was happening on Twitter?
I wrote a tweet earlier. I was going to actually bring it up when we got to Justice League because it was relevant then, about how between Hawkman and this particular issue of Justice League, I'm beginning to think that Venditti is writing comics purely for me and Matt. We had a bit of a thread, we were chatting about it with some other people, and it was good. But he just replied, "Going, you finally noticed."
So yeah, that's real cool.
All right,
he's writing books just for us, Connor.
We knew it.
Yeah. You go for it. So Superman 24 is coming out. Good stuff. Teen Titans 44. Still, the Teen Titans book right now is just this thing that's existing that
I forget is there until I read Solicits, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's still a thing.
Yeah, one of our viewers or listeners, or he goes by Sensig on Twitter, has been going back through Teen Titans and is saying that it's really good. Not compared to the John stuff, but it's doing its own thing, and that that first arc was bad. But after that, it's really caught up and is doing a real fun story. So I feel like the fans of it are really into it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of in its own little corner.
And which is good. Red Hood, though. The fans of that are really into it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's worth mentioning, much like, what was the last... There was one in the previous batch that had like a random annual. I think it was June actually. It was the June schedule had a random annual, even though it wasn't like an extra week. But likewise, Teen Titans annual number 2. So I assume this was planned for whatever 5th week.
I mean, this is a resolicit, so it probably is that random June annual still.
Mm-hmm.
No, not in the solicits. There was in the schedule for June. There's an annual coming out on the 4th week.
Oh, okay, I'm with you now.
I'm not talking about the original solicits. I'm talking about what was the last couple of weeks.
Things. Yeah.
So this is now the second sort of annual that's just kind of been shoehorned into a weird, because normally annuals are relegated to those 5th weekend, or the 5th, not weekends, but you know what I mean, the 5th Wednesdays. Right, so Wonder Woman Dead Earth issue 4, which is the final issue of that. So that's 2 Black Label books ending in August, meaning that all we're going to have left Black Label wise for the time being after that will be Criminal Sanity and... Is that?
I think 3 Jokers is technically Black Label, and so's Dead Planet. Actually, I don't think Dead Planet is.
I don't think Dead Planet is. I think it's 3 Jokers, and I think technically that Harley and Birds of Prey book is Black Label, but obviously we're not covering that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of random annuals, so despite the fact that we have 2 issues of Tamaki's Wonder Woman, we also have a Steve Orlando written Wonder Woman annual number 4 in August. So, yeah.
We can skip that one.
Yeah, we can skip that one. I'm going to skip it. Young Justice issue 17. I always know where I end at the single issues because this is the last one alphabetically. So, yeah, no surprises there.
What was interesting is I think every single Bendis book was a resolicit.
Although, I say end of the single issues outside of the main country because there is actually one Hill House book left, a couple entries down. Plunge issue 6, the final issue of the Hill House books. For Wave 1, assuming there's going to be a Wave 2. I hope there is. But Plunge issue 6 is out in August.
I'm almost certain there will be. But like they said before, they don't want to announce any until they're all done. So it'll take a while. But I'm sure that will happen.
I do wonder if the quarantine did delay kind of the Black Label and Hill House stuff a little bit. In terms of the next waves being announced. Like, I wonder if that did push them back a little bit.
Depends if they were working on it already or not, doesn't it?
Because I feel like there is a bit of a drought here where it feels like a lot of them have just done now, and there's maybe going to be, because even if they announced them, say next month for October, which I mean October would be a good time to start some Hill House books, admittedly. That's when it started last time, and the first one, I think the first Basket Full of Heads.
Maybe they will aim for that again.
Maybe they would. Yeah.
So just whether there is a couple of other issues after that are
the Sandman stuff.
Sandman stuff mostly, and Last God, which is not Sandman.
Yeah, but... I always skip over those. That's
but
a mistake.
The reason I wanted to mention it is because there are still some books missing from this. There's a couple we'll get to separately in a minute, but books that are still actually missing. A couple of those are those Sandman books. There's no Lucifer, and there's no House of Whispers. But other things that are maybe more to your interest that are missing. No Event Leviathan Checkmate that was going on. Far Sector's not there, and there's no Shazam. I'm
sure they'll all just be back the following month. Those
quite possibly, but I just thought it was notable that we're getting back to August. Also, as well, another one that I don't even know if it's been rescheduled for June or July, so we might not even be starting this just yet. But the Man Bat mini.
Yeah, that's not been anywhere. You're right. I mean, I maybe theorizing about it. I just want to quickly mention the collections, because I even noticed this first one, this Blackest Night, Brightest Day box set, which has all of Blackest Night and all the tie-ins, but it also has the big, thick Brightest Day books that came after as well. So this is a huge box set of trades. So
it's
like for the price, and you'd need a whole new shelf just to put that on.
Yeah,
like
that's years of trade collect. Well, not years, but
12 brand new hardcovers. So I'm sure they've added stuff.
Oh, they're all hardcover? I didn't even notice that part.
That's what it says. 12 brand new hardcovers that collect the entire epic featuring stories by top DC talent, and they go on the list.
Yeah, some deluxe hardcovers in there. There's a few omnibuses.
The box set also includes a set of 9 plastic rings from across the spectrum. So Matt needs it.
Yeah, Matt needs it for the rings.
I already have those.
Yeah, of course he does.
They're somewhere in a box when I moved.
Interesting, they're doing a Road to No Man's Land omnibus, which I assume means they're going to do a No Man's Land omnibus, probably in 2 volumes. But I look at this and I'm like, I assume this doesn't have Contagion in it, or Cataclysm rather, because Cataclysm kind of is what starts the Road to No Man's Land, but it's because there's Cataclysm, then there's 2 books of Road to No Man's Land.
There's probably a Cataclysm omnibus already.
I don't think Cataclysm's big enough to just have an omnibus on its own. Unless there's a lot of tie-ins that weren't included in the Batman book, but I don't think there was.
I mean, I don't know.
I could be wrong. So that's kind of weird. They're doing GLA by Grant Morrison omnibus. That's already had deluxes, it's had trades, it's had everything, so...
Why not an Omni?
Yeah. Interesting, they're doing a trade from the start of Wally West Flash series, issues 1 to 18, but it's not a volume 1, it's just... You know, which might just fit their thing, because the same way Gail Simone's first Birds of Prey didn't number that. They just called it Birds of Prey, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's still a thick book, though. 18 issues plus the annual.
No, I'm always happy to see that. They're starting the Shazam / Captain Marvel. Yeah, Power Shazam book 1 in the beginning. Issues 1 to 12 of Jerry Ordway's series. So I'm always happy to see like runs like that starting to be collected again. Hopefully it does well enough to at least continue. And now that we're setting a precedent for some stuff continuing digitally that might not continue physically, which we'll get to in a minute, maybe that's something that can maybe apply to some of these trade series that...
Well... We'll talk about the other stuff in a minute and how DC maybe took a page from Marvel's book, given some recent announcements from them. Marvel actually are doing that with some trades as well, where they're only releasing them digitally. So maybe it's not impossible.
Honestly, I'd be all for it, because it's really frustrating when you buy the first 3 volumes of something and then they stop releasing new volumes because the physical copies aren't selling enough. Like, just put them together for digital so that I can keep buying them in that format, please. Mainly just because DC singles don't go on sale that much compared to the trades, so it's really annoying having to like wait for the singles to go on sale.